All right, everyone, welcome back to Good Morning Arklamis. Senator Bill Cassidy here with us in the studio this morning. Senator, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Taylor. Glad to be here.
Yeah, we're very happy to have you. Now, Memorial Day has just passed, and you were in our area yesterday for some ceremonies and really just spending the whole day with veterans and the families of veterans who have passed. I mean, what was that experience like?
It was very powerful. And of course, we want to remember veterans and those who have fallen all the time. But Memorial Day is when you particularly do.
Yeah.
And the ceremony at Rayville was powerful. Then we went to the Northeast Louisiana Veterans Home afterwards, spoke to some veterans. It was just a really great day.
Yeah, and speaking of veterans, you're right now working on some legislation to help the families of some of our fallen vets.
Yes, there is a tax provision in which the child of someone who's died protecting our country gets a benefit from the federal government. And we want to make sure that they get that benefit and that it's tax-free.
Yeah.
So I was able to introduce the legislation. It passed the Senate unanimously. It's passed the House, but it's part of a bigger bill. We hope to get it all the way through and have President Trump sign it. Everyone wants to take care of a Gold Star family.
Yeah, absolutely. Why is that so important for you guys, and why do you think this has kind of been something that is bipartisan and people are, you know, meeting in the middle of the aisle here?
So Abraham Lincoln once said, it is our duty to care for the orphan and the widow.
Yeah.
And so I would say that this is part of President Lincoln's aspiration for our country. But I'm also working on VA issues, not just for those whose family members has fallen, but for those who serve but are still with us.
Okay.
And we need to realign that Veterans Administration so that it works for the veteran and kind of not for the employee.
Yeah.
There's many good employees in the Veterans Administration, but if you live in Monroe and you can't get to Shreveport or to Alexandria for a service that's not offered here, we're making it easier for you to get that service where you live, as opposed to having to travel.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, speaking of families of veterans, you're also working on some legislation and some different changes for all families in general. You're the chairman of a committee, and you're working on some paid leave for families.
Yeah, so I'm a doctor.
Yeah.
So if a woman has a baby and it's best for mama, it's best for baby if she has about 8 weeks at least with that child. And she can breastfeed, which is much better for her, much better for the child. They bond.
Yeah.
It's also important for the father. Now, some employers, God bless them, their small employers cannot afford to get paid family leave.
Right.
Is there a way that without raising taxes that we can create a benefit so that the mother or the father has that baby and is able to stay home for a few weeks with that child for everything we just discussed?
Yeah.
So we're working on that. Ivanka Trump, the president's daughter, is very into it. We also have Kirsten Sinema, a Democratic senator from Arizona. So we're hoping that Republican, Democrat, the President Trump and his daughter coming together, we can get it passed.
How are some ways that we're able to do that to kind of allow for that time off, you know, when a company maybe can't afford to?
Yeah, so there is some federal benefits that are now coming down to a parent, but if you could maybe front load that.
Okay.
If you think about it, that first year of life is more expensive than the following years.
Yeah.
So is there a way that we can give a few more benefits for the first year of life, and you're buying the diapers and the formula or whatever else you need, and then and allow that paid family leave to occur? So that's what we're looking at.
Yeah, and then again, as a doctor, you're also fighting to make sure that people know how much their medical procedures and you know, anything they need to have done will cost up front. That's something else that you're kind of fighting for here.
So Taylor, if we could see through this camera, and we could say, everybody who's had a surprise medical bill, raise your hand. People's hands would be shooting up all over the place.
Oh, of course, I think you'd be shocked.
Would be. No, I wouldn't be shocked.
Well, not for you.
So what we're doing is saying, listen, if somebody said, I'm going to an in-network hospital with an in-network doctor, you don't get a surprise medical bill.
Yeah.
Because a piece of equipment was out of network. I mean, think about it. A piece of equipment can be out of network.
Yeah.
So that should not happen. So we're making it so that if the hospital or the doctor and the insurance company can't agree, you take the patient out of it. They can fight with each other, but the patient does not have to worry about those bills.
Yeah.
If it's an emergency situation, she goes to the hospital, she brings her child, she should not get a surprise medical bill because her child had an emergency.
Absolutely.
We're working on that. We want to make the patient the reason for the care, not an excuse for the bill.
Yeah.
And if you can make her the reason for the care, then she has the power and the system serves her, and I'm all about that.
Fantastic. Senator Cassidy, you are a busy, busy man. We really appreciate you stopping by the studio this morning.
Thank you, Taylor.
Guys, if you missed this interview, make sure you check it out. It'll be over on our website after the show, knoe.com. Right now, we're going to send things over to the Weather Center.